Dear friends, I need to roll up my sleeves today and get a little more serious with you about a very, very important subject called self love. This is not just, a little silly thing you can do because blah, blah, blah. This is serious business if you want to be fully embodied and live as an open channel, open portal for the divine and bring in the new earth that is knocking at our heart because it's here. It's here. And it doesn't say this with the words, but there's like an energy of like, I'm here. Can you feel me? Can you feel the longing for me? So I had my monthly gathering online this morning. It's always so beautiful and so deep and delicious. But here's what I always notice, not just in the gatherings, but with my clients and generally in life, that most people have no clue what true self-love really is. Many think they know what it is, and many know about it and can talk about it, about what it is and how important it is. And they get like, yeah, this is really important. And then they go off doing their own life, totally forgetting about it. And this is not helpful. I really want to put in a plug for self love. I want to cheer for self love, but in a way where it is embodied and real and alive. It becomes part of who you are instead of part of who you are not. Because what we are used to is living without self love. We're doing the not love thing, the not self love thing. Even though we talk about it, we may have read books about it, we may have taken classes in it, we may have done all kind of things, and here it remains. We are not turning our full attention to who we are. And that is something that we feel in the body because the body has its own language, how it communicates with us. It's not talking that we hear with the ears. It is a sensation in the body. And this sensation is where it all starts. If you have read my book called Imagine Being Kind to Yourself, I basically talk about the foundation of this language, which is, what does a yes feel like in your body? What is the felt sense in your body of a yes? And what does a no feel like in your body? See, it's not something we think. Well, we do many times because most people live in their mind still. But it's something you feel inside, and it's something you need to learn to tune into and understand what it means. I can say because this is kind of my life, right? It's self-love, but at the depth of the reality of it. So I don't need to stop and tune in. Sometimes I do. I may just go, let me just give it just a moment to let me see what the body is expressing right now. But for the most part, it's just flowing along with the language and the energy and the movement of the body. And there is something in there that makes me feel, um, well, I feel a yes. It's like there's an expansion, there's an opening, there's a green light, there's something that tells me, yeah, go ahead. And the same with the no, there's something that pulls back, gets tight, resists. These are the very basic cues of the body. And in one way, that's all we need. We certainly built on that. There's a refinement and attunement to it. But the basics are like, is it a yes expansion or is it a no contraction? There is also something in between, which I call I don't know yet, because there are times when we just don't know yet. There is just maybe things that are unfolding, and we just need to give it a little time until it goes to the yes or the no. But in that interim, we can learn what it feels like when you don't know yet. This is all the things I have been writing about in my books and a lot of blog posts. I talk about it a lot. It's really the basics of it. Once we know that, then we need to really want to honor that expression. For many of us, we're not, and there's reasons for that. Many times is that we still don't trust it, or we still have a lot of maybe not love, self-hatred, self-judgment, a lot of negativity that makes us go away from it and instead maybe beating ourselves up or doing something in the world that is not good for us, even though we know it. So there's a lot of bridges to cross, right? There's a lot of layers to soften until we land inside of ourselves and make that our abode, our abiding place. Then things start changing in your life because now you are your own best friend. You are kind of 100%, maybe 98. Nobody's perfect, right? Maybe 90, but you know that you are behind yourself. You have your own back. You don't even want to not honor yourself anymore. And it is a process. I'm talking about my own process. It didn't happen overnight, but the more I just learned to listen and took my time and then found the courage to say no when I felt no, even though some people might get upset or disappointed with me, that was another layer I had to learn to be okay with. Like, people may not agree with what my truth wants, what my truth is, but it doesn't make it not true for me. It is still my truth. And most people live like that, where they are not honoring their own truth because others may not like it. And then we let go of our own truth to honor their arguments or opinions about what is true for us. And it's probably because they are doing the same, where they're not following their own truth, and then they want to tell others how they should live their lives. So this is very common, and it is probably more common than we actually realize, that nobody out there is really is fully attuned with who they are and what their truth is. But that should not stop us from starting a movement and becoming that and coming fully in alignment with who we are, because ultimately that is our true source connection, our true soul essence. That is what we feel speaking. So every time we deny that, we are basically denying God. We are denying our own divinity. It's so close that there is only one, and that is I, and that is your I. And that's the one that moves as us to express itself in a way that feels somehow aligned. Like, before the mind comes in and tells us, no, nobody's going to like you, that's wrong, that's bad, how do you know that's true? Before that, This is always here. It is who you are, okay? It can't go away. Your I or I am presence is who you are. The fact that we have turned away from it, all of it, in this program we live in, and moved so far away that we really believe that we are separate from it. That's why the deepest misperception is that we are that we have a separate self. It's a separate sense of self, but it's not separate. It's just the sense that we have. And the sense, that's something that goes on in our mind and in our physical senses. But in our soul sense, that's when we feel the truth of who we are. And that's where it lives. And that's where we need to keep going back there. I would say that there's so many people who are really talking about it and teaching it and helping others to find that in themselves. So there is like a whole new wave coming in where we are going to live aligned with who we are in our divinity. And at that point, it doesn't matter much what others think about you. Now, think about this. You're with other people who are practicing this, and we're all practicing to be ourselves, let's say in a group, in a circle, where the circle is saying, yes, yeah, try it on, be that, feel it out, instead of the old way where everybody said, nah, 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 don't do it, bad, wrong, right? That's what we're used to. So we can start creating a circle, a group, gatherings, convergence, all kind of good stuff, where we turn it around and start making that a priority. We start making that thumbs up, right? And when you are in a group of people where everybody is practicing it, fumbling with it, but still doing it, because there is a permission, we create a space where that is allowed to be fully yourself, even if it goes against everybody in the circle. It's still like, yeah, that's you. That's all you can be. So in that, I see there is something unfolding more and more, and it has been for years, but I think there's something getting really crisp around it. I think, the last few months, something has definitely amped up in my experience, where we have more access to that. And and the old way of, no, that's not as strong anymore. It doesn't have to get the best of us. But, if you look at yourself, I mean, we're all control freaks, right? We always have opinions about others and they shouldn't do that. And we either tell them or we think it. So it's the matrix that is just sending us all these hypnotic suggestions, these negative limiting beliefs and thoughts that we just take on as if they're true. And then we either speak them or believe them or project them out. We all do it. And when you see that everybody is doing it, it becomes a little bit of a joke, because then you might say, well, who the F cares? We're all doing this crazy thing. Why should that stop me from being me? And then the little sprouts, now they can start coming out of the ground because it's safe. There's other sprouts coming up, and they feel more safe because everybody's doing their best and we're all willing to try on our true self. And then we can start growing amongst ourselves first until we feel strong enough that we can stand on our own 2 feet and be ourselves. I remember in my early days, I would call some of my close friends and I would say, I did this, and is that okay? So I would reach out, and I always got this one. I always got the thumbs up, because that is the truth. And if we don't have somebody we can kind of check in with and bounce it off of, we can go back into believing that it's not okay. So together we can start moving ahead and moving out of that not okayness and that not loving thing. And we can start turning our attention to what is really true for me. Who am I when I'm not affected or impacted by what other people think about me or say to me? Who am I really? And then we literally have to move and move through all these layers that have been holding us back. I don't think there is any way around it. We have to move through them so that we expense, like every time you move through a layer of resistance or pushing back, you get stronger, right? There's more of you. You're more in touch with who you are because this is not pressing you back anymore. So now you have more energy, more fuel, and then and it's easier to tackle the next one and the next. And some of them can be really scary, right? So we need more of that. And if we don't have enough, we can reach out to our friends and have them help us to stay in our truth and just keep moving out. And then eventually we are all living in the truth of who we are as we are. And then the energy will change in the world from going like this to just shining our light lovingly, joyfully, and it feels really good. So, self love, go for it. If you don't know how to do it, and honestly, most people don't, they think they do. They're doing it a little bit, kind of with their head, or they get lost in something. Reach out to me. This is what I came here for, seriously. And I can own that. I can say, yes, Pernilla. It's just because it's so obvious to me that that's why I'm here for myself and for anybody who wants to learn it too and become that. So you can reach out and you can book a 20 or 30-minute self-discovery session with me. And then we're just going to explore and see if you really want to do the deeper work and if we're a good match. Link is in the description. Also, next week, I am offering a free webinar all about this. This is all I do. I may put different names on it and different titles, but this is all I do. It's all the same as coming back home, live in alignment with your divinity, and make yourself available for that to let the new paradigm flourish. Okay. So the link for the webinar is also in the description below. And if you want to join, there is a convergence this whole week on a Facebook group, which is about core embodiment. It's kind of the same we're talking about, right? It's that coming all the way down to the core, into our body. All of this week, there's replays if you missed the live ones. I will be speaking tomorrow at 1 p.m. Pacific time, if you want to join that. It's called The Sacred Connection Between Embodiment, Self-Love, and Your Deepest Longing, your heart's longing. Please join me. Would be fun. But you can also catch the replay. It's all in the link below or in the descriptions below. Okay, my friends, go and be really loving to yourself by listening to what deeply matters to you. See you soon.